Hello, this is Elisa Segner. Welcome to my presentation on my Technology Implementation Plan project for EDUC 629. When developing the Technology Implementation Plan, also known as TIP, the first step is to develop the mission, vision, goals, and strategies to go along with those goals. The mission for my particular plan was based on a fictional college called Centera College of Health Sciences, and it states, Centera College of Health Sciences will provide engaging and meaningful staff development and training opportunities for instructors in support of their virtual classrooms in order to promote quality engagement using technology integration together with instructional best practices, keeping in mind diversity awareness for all the key players. Next, I developed a vision statement which says, the vision is to provide all instructors staff development and training opportunities which enable them to conduct high-quality online engagement, promoting learners to think critically and creatively within their virtual classroom. After creating the mission and vision, I then had to come up with some goals and strategies for those goals. The 4 goals concentrated on developing staff training modules, then conducting training for instructors, as well as preparing instructors on how to develop lesson plans focused on promoting engagement and higher order thinking skills. Finally, instructors should be able to recognize UDL or Universal Design of Learning guidelines. The next step in developing my TIP was to look at the needs assessments. I needed to look at the strengths of Centera College, which in this case was the technology. The college had the necessary equipment for both instructors and students. The Learning Management System, or LMS, which is called Brightspace, was also a key tool in this project. The LMS had various tools for engagement, such as voice and audio recording. It also integrated nicely with Google Suites, which was another important application which was utilized by the college. The main weakness noticed within the college was by the Accrediting Bureau of Health Education, which is also known as ABHES. They recognized a weakness in their report in the quality of engagement that was taking place between student to student, student to content, and student to faculty engagement. The LMS was also new to both the faculty and the students. The opportunities that were noted was the fact that, again, Google Suites was an available tool that could be used for collaboration in order to promote engagement for the college. The college had also hired several new faculty who were familiar with Google Suites, including a new technology integration specialist. The major threat could be attitudes toward moving to a new LMS, as well as cognitive overload. The needs analysis was outlined, which concluded that the college would most certainly benefit from improving within the area of engagement. During the planning process, goals and strategies were mapped out. These were also connected to quality of matters, also known as QM standards. Goals and strategies were outlined and included who would implement the strategies. An example would be the Instructional Technology Specialist, also known as the ITS, would conduct training on Google Forms and how to use the LMS, text, video, and audio features, as well as Google Docs in order to promote student-to-student engagement. An example of a QM standard to match the strategy just mentioned above would be QM 5.2, which states, learning activities provide opportunities for interactions that support active learning. Once the strategies were drilled down to match goals along with strategies, the next step was then to look at the environment. In this case, training will be offered both in online and face-to-face formats. Participants need to come prepared to the training. The description goes on to explain that the goals and objectives will be clearly defined, and participants will also be using Google Suites. The engagement section simply outlines when the training opportunities would be given throughout the year. Some were offered ongoing and others on particular dates and times. The expectations for instructors is outlined, stating that they were to apply the newly acquired skills within their courses to promote quality engagement. Application Tools section is simply stating the fact that instructors need to have their own computer and be able to utilize the Chrome browser as well as Google Suites. They would also have a sandbox provided to them within the LMS. The Results section outlines that the training modules created by the ITS would provide instructors with the opportunity to learn how to facilitate engagement within the online environment. The importance of collaboration is supported by Scripture, where it says, Two are better than one because they have a good return for their work. which is found in Ecclesiastes 4:9 from the New International Version. The next step in the tip was the implementation process. This included a budget as well as a timetable for the goals and objectives and strategies to be outlined, along with the measurements for those strategies. The budget was briefly outlined in a table view format. The main estimated costs for the tip consisted of staff salaries, specifically those for the ITS and IT support. Other costs were minimal. The goals in the section were then tied to specific strategies to include the responsible party, then the timeline to meet those strategies, and finally the description on how the strategy would be evaluated. For example, goal number 1, which stated that the ITS will simply create asynchronous training modules. The strategies to go along with that goal states instructors will have to complete at least one Google form demonstrating how to use the tool for collecting information from students. The responsible party would then be the ITS. The timeline would be May to July of 2019. And an evaluation piece would be twofold. First, the module would be completed by the ITS, and then the pre and post assessment would be given during the actual training to the participants. The summary collaborative Google Doc would also be completed at the end of the training, which would allow for the sharing of ideas and using Google Forms within their course. The professional development section focused on the type of training that would be offered to instructors. This included online, blended and face-to-face, and face-to-face formats only. The training modules were designed paying careful attention to the TPAC as well as the UDL guidelines and ISTE standards. Lesson plans were detailed in the tip to provide samples of how the PD would be conducted. Each lesson will include such things as the QM standards, objective, time, training, location, and materials. There will be an introduction or opening statement made at the beginning of the training when the main delivery followed by the closing, which would include the assessment piece. Each lesson would allow for options for differentiating the lesson as well as attention to the participants' needs for additional support. Lessons concluded with a means for continued collaboration, usually a Google Doc, with participants sharing what they have learned and how they will apply these new skills to promote engagement within their courses. The sharing of ideas follows along with Scripture. One man gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. A generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others with himself be refreshed. Proverbs 11:24-25, New International Version. By sharing ideas, participants will help others build upon their knowledge and promote creativity within the training cohorts. The final section of the tip is executive summary. This is where everything is pulled together and summarized, considering the goals, the support is needed, and what support is needed, and the measurements used to determine the success of the strategies that were implemented. I included that diversity, differentiation, as well as UDL best practices were included in my plan in order to meet the individual needs of the learners. The focus of my tip was creating as well as offering professional development opportunities, which would focus on improving quality of higher level thinking engagement between student to student, student to content, and student to instructor within the online virtual learning community. A final task was to create a goal comparison chart which tied together my goals to the Quality Matters standards, the International Society of Technology in Education, ISTE, Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge, TAPAC, and finally the Universal Design for Learning, UDL guidelines. These were then linked to the college's strategic plan. This concludes my presentation on my technology implementation plan for EDU C629. Please find references for this presentation on the last slide. Thank you.